you lot. CB radios. I've had many questions over the last few months about which one is good to buy to put in a car or a van. Well, there's loads out there. So I thought I'd just have a little go through the ones that I own, the ones I've got, that I think, then they're new, by the way, they're not like old ones. Well, that's a different video altogether. Old CB radios. What old CB radio can you put in a car? Loads. That's a different video altogether. But I thought I'd go through some of the new ones, and by new I mean not necessarily that these ones are the newest model, but that you can still go out today and you can go to a shop and buy one if you want to, brand spanking new. That's what I mean by new. So we'll have a little look and go through them briefly, just so you can get an idea of what they are and what they look like. And but it's important to bear in mind, very important to bear in mind, that all of these, apart from this one, but all of these ones, that one, this one and this one, are all 4-watt radios. They all give out 4 watts of power, so they all give out the same signal, right, as far as you're concerned anyway. So people always ask me, what sort of range will I get with the CB radio? Well, the thing is, the range doesn't really isn't really dictated by the radio as such. That's more the antenna, and that is a completely different video. We'll do a different video on antennas for cars and vans. But this is a 4-watt radio. It'll draw about 1.5 amps, can be run off of a cigarette lighter plug, no problem. It's not the best way of doing it, but for all intensive purposes it can be. In fact, I think this one and the 3000 come with a cigarette plug as standard anyway. For those of you that are experienced and you know blah 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 blah, this is aimed at people who are getting into CB and just want to know what one to buy. So let's have a look at the T800 first, and then we'll look at the T3000, and then the all brick thing, and then we'll have a look at the other one after that. So the Thunderpole T800 is a basic radio, a very basic CB radio. It's got 40 channels. You can see on the box there, it's got, multi-frequency, including UK and European bands, so you can use it on that if you want to. You'll have to have a different antenna or a tuner or some description, but again, that's a different topic altogether. LED channel and signal meter, auto manual squelch, channel 9 and 19 buttons, so you can flip between 9, 19 and normal to flick which channels you want anyway, FM and AM. It's a very, very basic CB radio. There's nothing particularly special about this at all. So if you want a basic radio to put in your car or your van, this very well could be for you. Obviously you get an instruction manual, and you get, we're just going to have a brief look at the radios. I don't want to confuse any of you lot too much by going into too many details. If you're watching this, you purely just want to know what radio you can buy, and what they potentially look like. So as I say, you can buy this brand spanking new from the Thunderpole website, and probably from some other websites like Knights and Radio World and all of that. It's a very small radio, see, it'll fit nicely in any car. I don't know the dimensions, probably could measure it, but who wants to go into that much detail? Microphone goes on the front, which is quite important, I think, because the ones that go on the side are a pain in the arse for putting in cars. On the front is good because it will slot in a little pocket in your dashboard or something like that. Up and down channel there, squelch on a knob at the front, which is important. RF gain, which is handy to have. I like RF gain. Some radios don't have RF gain. I like having RF gain. That's handy to have. And your volume, and on and off. This one comes as standard, comes out the box. You probably can spec it with or without, but I think a standard comes with a cigarette plug. If you don't want that, you can just chop it off, or desolder it. But it comes with that standard. So if you don't know how to power it, if you want a CB radio but you hadn't really thought about how the hell am I going to power it? It takes 12 volts, but how am I going to power it? Comes with that anyway, so just plug it in your cigarette plug and away you go. That's very nice. It obviously comes with a microphone in the box, but no one wants to look at that at the moment. Comes with a microphone, comes with everything you need apart from an antenna. So yeah, this is a nice radio. I had this in my van for ages. As far as range goes, I had it coupled up with a Stereo HP, what did I have? I think I had the 3000 on the van. Indeed, I had the Stereo 3000. And I was talking about, well, the furthest I ever got was, now let me think, pretty sure Germany. And I'm in England, by the way. I'm in United Kingdom. I spoke to Germany. I used to hear the American lorry drivers, the truckers, of an evening. Never managed to speak to any of them though on this. But I could speak to people in Nottingham, Manchester and that from the van when I'm driving around Southend-on-Sea. No problem at all. I'll be driving to work and I could hear people in Birmingham and all that kind of stuff and have a little conversation with them, lorry drivers, people home base, etc, etc. Because it's 4 watts, you know, and you can always put an amp behind it if you want to, but as I say, the aerial and the way the aerial is set up is what dictates how good your signal is. The radio, basically, you could be on 1 watt and you could still talk to America. It's very possible. So yeah, this will get you 30-40 miles and more, you know, as long as you have a good antenna system. Anyway, let's put this one back in the box and then we'll have a look at the 3000, the bigger brother. Now let's look at the bigger brother. There is a T2000, T800, T2000 and then T3000. I haven't got the 2000 so I can't comment on it, I can't tell you any information on it, and I can't show you it. But this is a T3000. I do believe it's still the newest one. I've had this a couple of years now. I do believe it's still the newest one that they offer. Thunderpole that is. So this is a nice one and I'll show you why it's a nice one. Because it will fit in a DIN. It's DIN. So it'll fit where your head unit used to be. Now I just want to point something out. Let me see if I can find the information. I thought as much. So the T800 is only 12 volts, okay? So it'll only work on 12 volts or less. Now this one, T3000, is 12 and 24 volts. So you can't accidentally blow this one up if you've got a lorry or a tractor or something else which happens to be 24 volts. Most tractors are 12, but you do get some 24. So it can take 12 and 24 volts, just plug it into whatever one you want. This one's got colour changeable display, blah blah blah. Doesn't come with a lady unfortunately, but you can't have everything. And this one, I bought this one the minute it came out. I had to pre-order it a couple of years ago, and because I did a review on it and I wanted to be the first to get the review out on the radio, on the YouTube. So I had this one in my van for a year or so, and it's also very good. Now on the T800 the speaker's on the bottom, I should have mentioned that. On this one the speaker is there at the front, and because it's DIN it comes with a cage like that, so that you can literally take your old head unit out if you don't want a head unit anymore and put this one in its place. Either that, if you've got a car which has got one of those massive, you know, the massive head units, they're the big old fat ones with loads of space, you can get the adapters and you can buy like a Sony head unit, you know, the ones that are about that big, aren't they? Put that in the top or the bottom, whichever you fancy, and you can also have your CB. So you can have your CB here and then below it your head unit for your music if you want. If you've got a car that will fit in, you can buy the adapters and they slot straight in. That might be something to think about. This is good. You can change the colours on the screen. Again, it's the same, 4 watts. It'll put out 4 watts of power. It will drain about 1.5 amps. Not adjustable power, automatic squelch there, no RF gain on this one. You've got different controls, you've got Vox as well on this one, band mode, channel 1 to 9 to 19, channel up and down. There you go. Comes as standard with a cigarette plug again, and this has got a detachable power cable, the other one hasn't. This is exactly the same microphone as the T800 comes with. It used to come with an old crappy light one that didn't work. I complained to Thunderpole and a lot of other people complained, and they ended up changing the microphone to this one, which is a little bit more substantial. but I would always replace it for a power mic anyway. But yeah, it's nice, and that light does not light up. So anybody who thinks their microphone is broken, it's not. The light never lights up. I don't know why they put it there. It's obviously a generic case, and they just haven't got an LED on this particular mic. So, and it comes with a load of other stuff, the keys and that to get your thing out, and a bracket and other bits and bobs in there. So, you know, this is a nice one. Little heatsink on the back, microphone socket. The T800 also has a microphone, a speaker socket, sorry. Two speaker sockets. Yeah, this is a very nice radio, and this will get you 30 or 40 miles reliably as well, coupled up with a decent antenna system, and you can also put an amp behind it if you want to. So yeah, this is a nice one as well. If you've got a smaller space in your car or your van or whatever it is you've got, and you can't fit one of the radios like the T800 and you want something a bit smaller, this is definitely an option to go for. The Thunderpole T3000, definitely an option to go for. And they're around about the same price, I think. Well, actually, I think this one's a little bit more expensive than the T800, but it does the same thing, so it depends. It all depends where you want to put it and what you want it to look like, really. So we've gone from medium-sized radio to slightly smaller radio. Let's go now to a really small radio. Now, the next one, again, it does exactly the same thing. 4 watts. This one is German. I don't know how you pronounce that. I've never been able to pronounce it in the last 14 years that I've been messing around with CB radios. Albrecht, don't know. AE 6110, however you want to say that. 6110, whatever. There's loads of different versions of these, as is the Thunderpole ones, different brands, whatever. But this one is what attracted me to this one was I used to have a Land Rover Discovery. I had 3 Land Rover Discoveries, and the last one was a TD5. And that above you got the sun visor. Above that is like a little pocket to put papers and stuff. Well, I didn't want my CB on show, so I got this little one, and this fitted in that little slot between the roof and the sun visor, in that little pocket, fits in there, lovely. So I'll show you. That's German. So we've got all European standards. We've got multi-standard device, up and down keys on the microphone, channel, so you can sort of scan on this one. LED display and a signal meter, auto squelch and manual. RF gain on this one, which is important. I like RF gain, that's handy to have. Socket for an external loudspeaker. The dimensions, there's the dimensions for this one, so you can see how small it is. It's a lovely little radio that will fit in any little place. It's 450 grams, it's 102 times 100 times 25 millimeters. Lovely little radio. So little instruction manual there. So there is a downside to it, and the thing what I didn't like about it was that the microphone is not detachable. You can't take the microphone off, and that was one of the biggest downsides of it for me, because I like to change the microphones on all my CBs. I like to put a power mic on so I can get a bit punchier audio. But you can't, well, you could do if you wanted to. You could always take the radio apart and desolder the microphone, or maybe it's just a plug, I'm not really sure, and then put a new mic on that way. Or you could always cut the cable, or you could take this microphone apart, take the wires out, and then put the power mic on this cable and just wire it up. There is ways of doing it. It's not that you can't do it. It's just a fact that it's hardwired in there, and it's not a simple plug to take it out and easily done. If they had a plug there's plenty of room for a microphone plug. If they'd had a plug, you can take it out, that would have been brilliant, but they haven't. So that's something to factor in if you want to be able to change your microphones easily, because some people change their microphones more times than they've changed their socks. Do you know what I mean? Very nice little radio. Look how small that is. Speaker, and it hasn't got a detachable power cable either, but it's nice. The radio works really well. I thought you could press it in then, but you don't. It works really well. Like I say, I had this in the Land Rover Discovery, and I was getting 30-40 miles. I was able to talk all the way, right away down to Hastings, from Southend on Sea, no problem at all. Lovely good signals. That was on 4 watts with no burner as well, so that was really good. I did have a stereo antenna, so I had a good antenna set up, but it's still, like I say, the antenna is the main thing. So yeah, if you want a really small little radio, go for one of these. Comes with a bracket in the box and everything. 4 watts, like I say, you reliably get a good signal and a good receive. The receive is good on this. The receive is good on all of them, but the receive is good on this one as well. No complaints with it at all. So this could be another option that you could go for, a smaller radio. So really you need to determine to yourself, have you got a lot of space? Do you want the radio to be on show? You know, do you want to hide it away in the glove compartment, in a little pocket somewhere? You know, above the sun visor, in the armrest, whatever, underneath your seat even. Depending on how much space you've got, well, that will determine what radio you want to get. But they'll all do roughly the same thing, pretty much. There is obviously, some people say the receive's better on other ones, and that's true, it is. But if you're just out there looking to get going in CB radio, or you just want it for work, or you want it for something like that, I wouldn't worry about all the pros and cons of different radios. Just get one that fits where you want it to fit, get a good antenna system, and you'll be well away. So now we looked at the small one. Let's look at the biggest radio, and the one that probably isn't practical for a lot of people that are watching this video, but you never know. So this one, I have got the box for this one. Do you know what, my wife, she says I'm weird because I keep boxes for everything. But like you see the other ones, I keep the boxes for things, so when I'm not using them, I can pack them away nicely back in the box and they don't get damaged. And you know, plus if you want to sell it, you've got the box. That's better, isn't it? So the box for this is in the loft. This is the one that I had out most recently. Bit dusty because I haven't used it for a while. But this is a Thunderpole. This is a Capo DX5000. Now, like I say, you can. These are new radios. You can go out and buy all of these radios in the shop today if you wanted to. However, there is a new version of this one out. So I have seen you can still buy this old version. I forget which version it is now. I think it's version 6. Yeah, because version 7 has just come out. I'm pretty sure this is version 6. Anyway, I could be wrong. It's from the Netherlands. I dare say there'll be people out there that will correct me because people know more than me. But anyway, you can go and buy this one in the shops. Thunderpole, Knights, eBay, other places. Brand spanking new. So you can still get this version, but I'd recommend you get the new version because there's more features on it, more power as well. Now this one is not 4 watts. You can variable. The power's variable basically. You can put it all the way from 0.1 watt. Well, according to my meter anyway, 0.1 watt. Some people can argue that as well, probably. It doesn't go down 0.1 watt. Anyway, 0.1 watt, which is basically nothing if you want to talk local. And you can turn it all the way up to, pretty sure it's 40 watts. It's 40 or 45 watts. And that's sideband as well as FM. And I think it's something like 20 watts AM, but you'd have to check the specs because I can't remember exactly what they are. I'm not perfect. It's got sideband on it, it's got different bands. You know, this is, a lot of people get these when they first get into CB and they get confused as hell. So I wouldn't recommend you get this unless you're willing to learn, because a lot of people get very frustrated and they're like, I give up with it, and they give up with CB altogether. So if you want to get in, if you're getting into CB and you're watching this because you want to find which one to buy for your car and you want a basic CB radio and you've never done it before, go and buy one of them other ones I've just shown you. You know, if you're a little bit experienced or you just want a challenge, get yourself one of these. You'll get a lot further out, a lot more reliably. You can talk across the pond very easily. Well, I say very easily. It doesn't mean you can literally speak into the mic and all of a sudden you'll get a yank come back to you from the middle of New York. What I mean is, it's a lot more possible without a burner. I'm probably going to get people argue that as well. You'll never speak to America that easy. Stop telling people you can. Right, you got SWR meter, you got a LED display, you got all kinds of nice stuff on this one. The downside is it's got clicky things and a clicky clarifier, which I hate. hate the clicky clarifier. It's one of the reasons I stopped using this, because I don't like the clicky clarifier. Trying to clarify in on sideband and it's clicking, and then someone's speaking, he goes no good. But the rest of the radio is absolutely brilliant. Very nice radio, good receive, good output, and you can program it. You can plug it into your computer if you buy the right software, get the right cable. You can plug it into your computer and you can program all the settings, all the frequencies you want, from probably, can't remember, 0 to 50 megs, whatever it is. It's not 50, it's 30. No, is it 30? It is 30 megs. Something to 30 megs. I don't know. Go and look the specs up, for goodness sake. Capo DX5000. Yeah, you got all kinds of bits and bobs on here, but as I say, this is supposed to be a beginner's video, and I'm kind of rambling on, probably confusing everybody, and they're probably all bored. But yeah, the only thing is the microphone comes out the side, which is a bit annoying if you're in a car, because if you've got enough space where you can slot this in, you can't slot it in all the way because the microphone is there. It'd be nice if it was at the front, but obviously they've put a load of buttons there, so multi-touch buttons, which are unnecessary, so they've put the microphone on the side. But comes with little thing there, speaker on the bottom, which is a nice deep speaker. It's not tinny, it's a nice deep rich sounding speaker. Very nice speakers on these radios. And the what's the other one, the Superstar 6900 is the same radio basically, just a different brand and a different colour on the front. This one's got a red screen, that one's got a blue screen. But yeah, if you fancy a little bit more advanced and a little bit more power and you want sideband ultimately, go for that. The other one's AM FM. This one is AM FM sideband, and also well, you've obviously got LSB and USB, so you've got both sidebands. But you've also got public address, which the other ones have got as well, PA, and you've got CW, which is Morse code. So if you fancy learning a bit of Morse code, you haven't got to go out and buy a very fancy ham radio, although this is technically a ham radio. Before you lot get on me about that as well, it is a ham radio, but there we go. You haven't got to go out and spend hundreds of pounds on some fancy Icom or a Kenwood or whatever to do a bit of Morse code. Just go and get yourself a Morse key, flick it over to CW, pick an appropriate frequency, and blip away to your heart's content, my friends. So yeah, there you go. We've got several different radios of which you could potentially choose from if you wish to go into the how am I going to do this? If you wish to go into the world of CB radio, and you don't have to put these in your car. You might have clicked on this because you want to put a radio in your car, but you can have these in your home. Just connect them up to a 12-volt power supply or a battery, and away you go. Set yourself up an antenna, attach it to the radiator, or put it on the corner of your house, and away you go. But these are radios that I recommend. You've looked at them, look at them and determine what size you need for your car. As I say, these three here all do the same power, take the same amperage, 1.5 amps. This one does 24 volts as well. I don't think that one does. This one only does 12 volts. But this one, I didn't explain, the more power you put out, the more amps it'll draw. So you can run this on a cigarette plug. Most cigarette plugs in cars, the 12-volt ones, are 10 amps max, right? The fuse will blow at 10 amps. So this will take more than 10 amps if you have it on full power. But if you're running this on 4 watts or anything up to probably about 10 watts, I should imagine, you could run it on the cigarette plug. If you're going to be running it on full power, which again is arguable, some people are going to comment saying you should never run these on full power because they melt, they're made of chocolate, blah blah blah. Don't worry about that. Then it will take more than 10 amps and the fuse will blow, so you need to connect it directly to your battery. But that's a different topic altogether. We're rambling on too much about rubbish that we don't need to talk about on a video that's designed for people beginning in CB radio. So with that, you decide what one you want to buy, and I hope I've helped you in some manner, some way. I hope I've given you a little bit more of an insight of, or at least a beginning. If you don't want to buy any of these, I hope I've helped you in some way. So there we go. Put it in the comments what one you've bought, what one you're thinking of buying. Any questions, put it in the comments. Me or somebody else, very knowledgeable people out there, they'll help you as well. If you've bought one and put it in the comments. How are you getting on with it? What's it like? What antenna have you plugged in the back of it? What car have you got it in? What van have you got it in? Whatever. I look forward to hearing from you lot. Take care. Thanks for watching. All the best.